But even with all that, some of the freshmen struggled um, to even get a hearing on a bill, or they even got the bill to the floor and it failed. You were able to get a pretty big piece of legislation through all the way to the governor's desk and signed in HB 4623. Do you kind of want to explain to the viewers like what that bill does and how it does it, and what the purpose of that bill was?
Yeah, of course. So 4623 is a bill that I wrote. You can tell that it was a late idea because of the bill number. So the
Yeah,
bill number is very high,
I wasn't going to tell
4623.
people that. I was going to let that just be there, but
No, yeah. Well, let me explain how that happened. The bill itself was almost an afterthought. So I came into the session, I had some bill ideas. I filed bills that had lower numbers. And during that 60-day window, when I was meeting with people, I went to David Lowe's office and Mike Morath was there with us. And I had some big questions about the referral of the sexual abuse cases in our school system and what's going on with them at an investigative level. And I left the meeting and I said to my office, who's carrying the bill to remove sovereign immunity from schools for child sexual abuse? And they go, no one is. I said, well, I am then. And let's go write the bill. And so the purpose of House Bill 4623 was to remove sovereign immunity from schools such that victims and their families of child sex abuse can bring a lawsuit in district court against the school for its actions in either negligently permitting or engaging in this form of abuse.
mm-hmm.
Um, it's rampant in our school systems. There's literally thousands upon thousands of cases of abuse from teachers and school personnel. And so that bill gets filed, and I think that is never going to see the light of day. Well, Jeff Leach and the speaker pulled that bill out of the pile and decided to give me a hearing. We had a great hearing in Judiciary and Civil Jurisprudence Committee with Chairman Leach. He allowed me to advance it. And I thought that was so nice of him to give me a hearing, but that bill is never going to get to a calendar. Bill goes to calendars. I asked them to put it on the calendar, and it gets the calendar. Chairman Leach and I go and have a meeting with the speaker and says, we're gonna get your bill to the floor. And no one was more shocked than I was that it was going to
Like,
happen.
so you need to be ready.
Yeah, you need to be ready. And so we're going to get to it either Sunday or Monday. I think we ended up getting to it on like a Tuesday or something. And the bill had a great hearing on the floor. It sailed through the House with, you know, a negligible number of no votes. It goes over to the Senate, and the Senate gave it a good hearing. I was skeptical they were going to hear it. Angela Paxton carried it for me in the Senate, and the bill ended up getting modified. There was a floor substitute or floor amendment, and it weakened the bill somewhat. And I think the school lobby got after it and changed.
Didn't it lower the threshold from like 1 million to 500,000?
I came out of the House with 500,000, so there was a
Okay.
cap on it, but it changed the liability threshold from negligence on the part of the school district to basically recklessness or gross negligence or intentional conduct on the
Yeah.
part of the school district. So still a move forward. And I can tell you, Garrett, that bill got signed by the governor, praise God, and then uh, I'm seeing the action online with even today. So today I got up and I was looking on Facebook. Somebody tagged me in an article. A school district immediately fired a teacher this in the last few days. So the bill goes effective September 1st.
Hmm.
School district is so concerned about the potential liability from the sex abuse stuff that it has moved to a zero tolerance atmosphere at
Hmm.
these schools. It's like,
Yeah.
bang, let's get the teacher, the coach, whoever out of the
Yeah.
school, out of the school district. Let's do an investigation. That's what we needed all along, because I think what was happening was sex abuse of children was thriving in schools because the schools were not incentivized to either investigate it or solve the problem themselves. It gets referred out to local law enforcement. It gets referred out to internal law enforcement at the school district, or they send it off to the TEA. And these cases were coming down the conveyor belt and they were not getting dealt with. And so I'm prayerfully hoping that this is going to have a significant impact on our schools.
So what are other? So the way I thought it would also work wasn't just from the the more risk averse, to put it for lack of a better term, administrators being proactive on it, but it would also be from insurance carriers basically saying if you don't put in these policies, you're not going to be able to be covered by our insurance policy whatsoever, or your
Yes.
premiums are going to go through the roof, and that there would be a secondary pressure on school districts as well. Have you started to see any of that going on yet, or is it since it's so new, it's not first?
They had to go out and get insurance to cover it, like
Right.
immediately effective to be there September 1 to cover their claim that might ultimately come through the court system. So
Right.
that was good. One of the criticisms we heard of the bill while it was going through committees and on the floor, et cetera, was, oh, well, the taxpayer is just going to end up paying for this anyway. And my response is, okay, so you mean as opposed to the victims and their families paying for it in a way
Sure.
that is totally unaccountable. And so the
Right.
way that I explained it on the floor, look, they're going to have to go out and take out insurance to deal with this problem. And as far as I know, they have. But if you could see behind the scenes what was going on when the bill left the House, I don't think, first of all, the school districts did not see this bill coming because how could they? I didn't even see it coming that it was going to get through the House. And so once they go, oh, that came out of the House and now it's on the Senate floor, what was
And it
going on
moved through the
behind
Senate pretty fast too.
it had to because it was
Yeah.
so late in the session. And so the school districts kicked into gear. The general counsel or the in-house counsel at a lot of these school districts started writing on the bill, meaning they were writing amendments, trying to gut it, trying to get it
Mhm.
over to their senators to get the bill disrupted. And yeah, I definitely took some names down on that deal.
Well, it's always good to have a list. Or it's not necessarily good to have a list, but whenever you work in politics or in the building long enough, you end up having a list
You just
of
remember, you keep
you
you
just
if you file it away.
yeah, a long, long, long memory. A lot of folks have over there.